Oh man. I tell you, it's the good thing about it is that it doesn't matter how long the day is. We can always just end the day with anime
That's
or
true.
begin it with anime.
That's true.
I uh I hear there's gonna be a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie based off of the new comic book series Ronin. Did you hear about that?
I did. It's like
So
that you hear that it's Naruto and Ninja Turtles crossover happening.
okay, so now that's gonna well, I guess because they're Ninja Turtles. Yeah, I guess it'll work. But I just don't think of those two being a good fit.
It's like I didn't
But
think Batman and Ninja Turtles was a good fit, but I have the Batman and Ninja Turtle comic book,
yeah.
and it works
Th
pretty good. I will say Batman and Ninja Turtles operate a lot more better just because they're in a city.
right.
Gonna
Right,
be
exactly.
how Ninja Turtles and Naruto, because Naruto is its own world,
It's
and
its own world and it really doesn't it doesn't it's not set in like really a city environment. It's in a landscape, towns and villages and forests.
time period
Yeah.
very unique because it has submarine technology, but it doesn't have some. Naruto is very weird in that way. So
Yeah. Yeah. And then, Daniel shared with us the Lord of the Rings trailer. And that for that anime, that's going to be a good one,
oh
I
yeah,
think.
it,
Just because when I watched the trailer, I remembered that it was going to be an anime, but how they started out with the live action frame of it and then it converted over slowly, it gave me chills when I saw it convert. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I remember this now. And then the Terminator anime is coming out soon too, isn't it?
yeah, yeah. It's like they got
Okay.
all good stuff coming out.
And then I haven't really been keeping up with because we're getting near the fall season for Crunchyroll too. So I'm not sure like all the new animes or well, I'm pretty sure was it Blue Lock? Blue Lock is about to enter in a new season.
Oh well, I need to. I haven't watched the first season.
Oh, you need to watch the first season. Blue Lock is an amazing. I don't even care about soccer, but I really enjoyed Blue Lock. That's what I love about anime. You can just watch any type of sport that you just don't really love, and you just sit there and you get drawn into it.
Yeah, that's how I feel about haiku. It's like
Yeah.
I don't know any volleyball, but if
The
I,
soundtrack is beautiful. Such a beautiful soundtrack. And I think that's what that they they get the good balance. It's not just the animation, it's the soundtrack and how they hit like the certain moments and the camera angles. I mean, there's things that they do in anime that you can't replicate it in live action, you know?
yeah,
Because you would have to be filming it and then you'd have to get the camera to zoom in on the eyes as they're like and flashing the intense and it's not you can't describe it. Yeah.
yeah, it's come. It's just unbelievable. It's like how they mesh everything together.
Yeah. What was the first anime that you ever watched?
Um, that I can remember. Um, Fatal Fury.
Oh yeah.
Like, me and
Yeah.
my brothers got it from rented it from like Blockbuster,
It was on
and
VHS, right?
yeah, and it also was a part of the King of Fighters, like some like the
Yes.
Terry Bogard, Andy, like
Yes. Andy Bogart.
King of Fighter '95.
Yes.
So
Yes.
we were like, oh man, that's who those guys are. And
Yes.
then from there, Dragon Ball Z,
Yeah.
and then it's like Pokemon.
Yeah.
Which I really didn't watch much of Pokemon. Um, it's like, but all that cartoon block of Pokemon, Dragon Ball Z, Yu-Gi-Oh,
Right.
um,
Right.
Digimon.
Were you watching Toonami on the Cartoon Network?
When we had the opportunity to, like,
Yeah,
sometimes like we had moments when we had cable, then we didn't have cable.
I got you. I
So
got you.
we have friends that allow us to come watch with them. So it was kind of hard to keep up with Toonami sometimes.
Right. Well,
So I missed out on like I remember it like Trigun, Cowboy Bebop and stuff.
yes.
Like, but I didn't really pick those up until later on. Until
But you've seen Cowboy Bebop.
oh yeah,
Yeah. That
Beauty.
live action Cowboy Bebop. They should have left Vicious alone. They should have not they just turned him in like to an emo character instead of making him this mysterious villain, which when I watched him in the anime, he's just this very scary, mysterious villain that you don't really, the only emotion he ever shows is when he's, trying to hunt down Spike versus the actor in the live action just, I mean, I don't know. I think the backlash on if they had to do the backlash, it would have probably been on Vicious, the way his portrayal was. It's just a
I don't rock with live action. Like I love the creativeness of animation.
yeah.
Um, when you have when you do live action, it takes away from me like the imagination of it.
Mm-hmm.
I,
Mm-hmm.
I like being able to see something where you can bend all the rules and nothing
Mm-hmm.
applies, but in the live action, it's like it has to hit in a certain way.
Right. The
For
only movie that I felt was kind of like in some ways like an anime, but wasn't an anime, was The Matrix. The Matrix itself, like the first Matrix is the most anime-ish realistic version of a movie that it bent the rules and there wasn't even what I think the reason why it really stands the test of time in my mind is there wasn't anything like it before it, like when they made Terminator there wasn't anything like it before and you know the I think around that same time Blade came out. And so, Blade was based off of a comic book character. So it was a whole world built around it. You knew that, Blade was a vampire and it was half human, half vampire. Versus the Matrix, you didn't have any idea what it was about. And then you see these very unique special effects that you wouldn't have seen before in most movies. And those special effects reminded me very much of an anime.
yeah, so yeah, like
Especially in the second one. The second one is where it really cranked up a notch.
I can see that now. It's like especially after seeing so many different anime, but when I was at the time I was still so young. Um,
I
I was
forget that, yeah.
I was just watching The Matrix, and I was just like, hey, we're trying to do the slow mo thing, like you're dodging bullets. Like, it's crazy to think that at that time, like that was like the groundbreaking visual effects.
And
And
and it was for its time. It really was.
yeah,
Yeah, especially the scene where, he's just sitting there and I know Kung Fu. He's like, show me. And they drop into the dojo scene and they go through that fight sequence. And then years later with Matrix Resurrections back in 2023 or 2022 where they go back into that scene again, just the action and just see what it wasn't like a great sequel by any means, but it was cool to see them kind of go back and make references back to the first one and how they did that. And
I remember.
I'm just looking forward to see what because I think they're talking about doing another Matrix. I don't know if they will, but
I never saw Resurrections. I
it's I mean, it's okay if you didn't. It's okay if you didn't. Yeah.
Like I'm very particular about like if something hasn't been done within a certain amount of time and they
Yeah.
release another. The only movie I can recall that has been great and it had a 30 plus year hiatus is
Mm.
Maverick.
Oh yeah. No, you're right. You're absolutely right. Top Gun Maverick. For me, I saw that movie, I think at least three times in theaters. I bought the I bought the DVD. I bought it on YouTube Premium. Um, I'm a pure Top Gun fan, and it did everything right that you would want a sequel to do. It did a call back to the past, but it wasn't cheesy. It didn't feel forced. It felt really natural. And the 80, when you go back and watch the first one, it was very much it's a it's focused on, kind of pumping up America. And it's
Yeah.
kind of very cheesy at times. But the second one, I mean,
But
it was so good.
the context of it all is like the first one you can, doing that before I was born, like you had the Cold War, the Berlin Wall,
Right.
relations, like so I can see that like the pump up and like
Yeah.
that patriot
America,
that
patriotism. Yeah.
and like and I can recall like growing up it used to be a lot more airplane movies. You had like the Jaguar movies,
Yep.
like
You had Iron Eagle.
it,
Iron Eagle. There was an Iron Eagle movie.
like the Tuskegee Airmen with Lauren Fishburne in it.
Yeah.
Like you know,
Yeah.
as now the dog. Like I would love to see more dog fight movies in World War
Yeah.
II.
Yeah. And just the budget behind that would probably be is what is the constraints of it. But that's why, you look at something like anime, and there isn't, that's what makes it, I'm amazed at the production. Like, how much does it actually cost to actually produce anime? Because you've got, I don't know how many employees doing the animation, and I just, that part of it, Crunchyroll, they did like little behind the scenes specials or making of Doctor Stone. And they showed the studios and the animation behind it and stuff. I thought that was really neat.
So I would love to see that too because one gripe that I do have with anime is that sometimes they take forever for another season to come out.
Yeah, yeah, that's the only gripe. Yeah,
And one thing that was is interesting is like I've seen behind the scenes of like Dragon Ball back when they used to make it in the 80s, and they just had slides, and they
that's
were
right.
slide by slide.
Yes,
It's like so like old school Disney type,
right,
And I'm just
right.
and when I watch Dragon Ball like now, the original, like I'm like I can see it because you have a lot of scenes that are similar. Goku,
Yes,
and it's like
yeah. Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah. Well, it's like Star Wars. Star Wars, they were using miniatures back in the 70s and early 80s. They to design these very epic looking spaceships and space fights and things like that. And
yeah,
they were all using miniatures back then, you know?
it's like which I can see how people love the creativity of it all.
That's right.
But I will say, unpopular opinion, the prequels in Star Wars are pretty good. One, two, and three, like if it wasn't for 1, 2, and three, I don't think I would be a Star Wars fan.
I
And
think I think you're right with that. I think it had so much, well, there was such a time gap between the original trilogy and then the new trilogy that I don't think people could appreciate it. And so when you start with one, two, if my kids were to start with one, two, and three, and then do four, five, and six, I think they might appreciate it better. You know, I think that um I think it would be better, but
I think it's on a
it's
visual standpoint
yes.
because 4, 5, and 6, me and my brothers, we watched episode. We used to have episode 4 on VHS.
Hmm.
Like I watched that movie a million times with my brothers when I was a little kid, and I had no idea what was going on.
Right,
And
right.
then when I watched 1, 2, and 3, and then went back to 4, 5, and 6, I was like, "Oh man, this makes so much."
Okay. Now it fits.
Yeah,
Yeah. Because then you see the relationship of, because I think like the real 1 through 6, and then 7, 8, and 9, it's good that they continued it, but they could have just left it alone and started like a completely different story, go beyond the Skywalkers. But but 1 through 6 really is the story of Darth Vader more than it is Luke Skywalker.
yeah,
His arc of being the supposed chosen one, and the betrayal of you know well, it's really, well, no, he died in 4, but just that story of Darth Vader from 1 to 6, or Anakin Skywalker 1 to 6, is an amazing redemption story.
yeah.
And then did you ever watch Kenobi?
No, I was like, I kind of like took a hiatus on
Yeah, I don't
uh,
blame him.
like Disney Plus shows.
Yeah,
It's like one,
there's
everything.
so many. There's so many.
The subscription costs for everything is just getting out of hand,
Right,
and
right.
like I just, I'll try to keep up with all the. I think after the Eternals, um,
Yeah,
that when I saw that movie, I was kind of done trying to keep up
yeah.
with everything.
Marvels. Yeah.
And
I know
then
you, yeah.
and then Mandalorian, it took a minute for the third season to come out,
Uh-huh.
and then I haven't even watched that one yet.
And it goes back to your point of anime. The drawback, the one, you know, uh thing against anime is that sometimes the seasons are too long. Um, like a good example, very good example is our good friend's favorite show, Konosuba.
Yeah,
That gap between season 2 to season 3, I'm like sitting there trying to remember. I'm like, I think I have to go back and watch season 1, season 2 to catch back up to what the heck is going on in the
yeah.
show.
It's like a good example for me would be Attack on Titan. Uh,
Oh yeah.
Like I watched Attack on Titan back in the first season, probably back in 2014 or 15,
Yeah.
and at the time I
Holy
thought,
crap, was it that long ago? 10 years ago now?
yeah, and I never got back into it because it took forever for season 2 to come out.
Right.
And by the time season 2 came out, like I've already forgotten. Like I can vaguely remember the first,
Yeah.
but unless it was just like something that I was just like in, I really don't have the retention of
Right.
remembering everything that happened.
Right.
Like now, a certain anime I can, like tap back in and
Yes.
I remember it because it was just, even though Attack on Titan is really good, this
Yeah.
it just took so long for it to come out.
I think it's I think it's also the context of it. There's so much world building around it, and the storyline is so deep. Like if there was a 3 to 4 year gap on the basketball that Kuroko plays, I would still like jump back into it. That type of show, I could, even though there's a gap, I would still like immediately jump back in and watch it. Like
I
when they had the movie, I loved the characters so much, and I knew the baseline of their abilities. And I was like, oh, I'm watching this.
I feel like it's easier to jump back into sports anime than it is to
Hmm.
actual deep story. And
Deep storylines. Like Ace of the Diamond. Ace of the Diamond is another good example. That show about the relief pitcher, the high school pitcher. Like if they were to bring that show back, I would watch that show. Like really get back into it because I just want to see like are they going to make it to the finals with that new team that they have? And I don't think that it's ever going to get picked back up again. But one show that I love, I absolutely love. If you have to ask me what's my top five anime shows, Food Wars, Shokugeki. Yeah, Shokugeki no Soma. That's like my number one, like immediate.
It's
So
like
crazy.
I have checked it out. It's like I, I think I've seen one episode of it,
Yeah.
uh, but
I love that show, man. I love food and restaurants and eating so much. And it's not a good show. It's not really good at all, but I love that show, man. It's like immediate like that's my one show. I mean, I know it's my one show because I've actually looked to try to buy like the whole series on DVD. That's how much I love this stupid show.
I understand. Like I have two more seasons to get for Dragon Ball Z, and
Hmm.
I have the whole complete Dragon Ball Z.
Series. Wow. Do you think
Like
they're ever gonna pick that up and pick up where they left off after the Tournament of Power? Because there's been a storyline after that what they need to animate it.
I think they were in the works of bringing Super back, but I'm eager to see. They have this new Dragon Ball anime
Yeah,
coming out.
yeah. Heroes. I think Dragon Ball Heroes, isn't that?
I think so. It's like Goku's like a kid, and
Oh, Daima. Dragon Ball Daima. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
so
yeah.
it's like, but from what I hear, my brother says the manga has been really good for Dragon Ball Super. It's like
Hmm.
they have like characters that are ridiculously strong.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
like one thing that I think I would love to see them go back to,
Mm.
like the roots of training. You know,
Yeah, yeah. There's not, yeah, yeah, you're right. There's not as much a focus on training now in the Super Series as there was back like during uh Goku preparing Gohan for the Cell games.
like
Yeah.
I would say it ended a lot earlier than that. I would say the Frieza saga was like the last true training segment that was like super intense.
Mm,
Up till then, like, you know, Goku and Dragon Ball would always train for the tournaments, and then
hmm.
they trained for, you had Gohan training for, Vegeta and Raditz coming in,
Yeah,
and then
yeah,
the Namek arc, you had everybody training on, King Kai's planet, and then
yeah,
Goku training in the 10th out, 100 times gravity uh,
yeah,
spaceship, and you see
yeah.
doing all the push-ups and like
Right.
like you have those Rocky moments.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
they you don't see that anymore.
it's like I would love for them to get back to those roots of like seeing and I think that's what made Goku great in a lot of aspects of like, he worked for all the things that he got.
That's right. Yeah, in spite of having these very supernatural abilities, he always was training in some aspect, shape, or form. And then trying to think of any anime that kind of had that type of training type work ethic that kind of is kind of motivational in a way.
Black Clover,
Um,
Asta, Black Clover. It's like
yeah, 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 yeah. Black Clover is a good example. Yeah, yeah. That's it's those types of things that make anime great. Is that the underdog training and well, I think you would like Wanda with story then. Wisteria Wand and Sword. It is it's about a as as like Black Clover in a way, but it's not. The animation is beautiful. It's beautiful animation, I think. And then Bye Bye Earth is another one from this season I'm watching. Both shows are great world building shows. You know, the things that they create in the show, it's just so fascinating. But if I had to pick between the two from a motivational aspect, the Wisteria Wand and Sword, but from just a even more from a world building aspect, Bye Bye Earth is a great show
Yeah,
because I don't know what it. So in Bye Bye Earth, the main character, and you're journeying with this character to find out, you know, because she's on a journey to find out who she is.
yeah,
But it appears like she's a human being on a planet where everybody else is like an animal type creature. And it's really an interesting show. And you know, I thank God I don't read manga because I would ruin it for myself.
yeah.
I just I don't want to ever get to the place where I'm reading the manga too because then I'm gonna start comparing. It's like, well, it's not exactly like this, and I don't want to do that. I just want to watch my show and be happy.
One of the reasons why I haven't watched Solo Leveling,
It's good though, man. It's
like,
good. Yeah.
like Solo Leveling is probably one of my favorite of all time. I'll put it in my top five. Uh,
Wow. It's good. It really is good.
but I
You
haven't seen the anime yet.
you need to watch the anime. Now that season one's out of the way, go and watch the anime. Do that for yourself. And just you know, don't think about the manga. Just watch it just for the sake of enjoyment. Don't try to compare it with the manga. Just watch it like I did, and not having read the manga. And I was like, this is a pretty good show. This is pretty neat.
Man, the manga is man, it's absolutely amazing.
Well, the good thing about the anime is that you'll be able to see it because in your imagination you're visualizing each frame and panel playing out, but with the anime you're seeing it play out, and so you're seeing a person's vision of what they see in their mind it unfolding in animation. So
Yeah,
like I said, I think you should watch it now that the whole season is done because I was pretty impressed with that show.
yeah. You know what's funny, man? We just started talking, and I don't know if you had like a topic of conversation you wanted to dive into. I know you had like a topic, probably.
It's usually the that's I was talking with Derek about it last our last conversation. The way my mind works, and I always take it as I'm talking with somebody, you
Yeah,
know, and so when I'm comfortable with somebody, I can just jump into anything. And so that's how it keeps my mind actually fresh because I don't really enjoy like talking about, you know, it's like, well, we gotta talk about this, we gotta talk about that. It's like, no, we don't have to talk about anything actually. You know, we could just sit here in complete silence and it would be fine too. So, but I know with you, we both have a common love for anime, and I get passionate when I talk about anime. It's very nerdy, it's very geeky, some would say, but I don't care because I love it. I mean, I my first anime was, and I remember where I was when I watched it. I was down in Florida in it's near Eglin Air Force Base, Niceville, Florida. I think that's what it was called. It's called. But I was hanging out with a friend of mine who had met when I was in South Korea when I was 8 years old, and we watched Project A together. And
yeah.
so another thing that we watched together was on the Sci-Fi Channel was an anime called Robot Carnival, and then of course Vampire Hunter D. So these are like the early 90s animes.
Vampire Hunter D was probably one of like I
So ahead of its time.
I went through a vampire kick. So I've tried to me and my brother so happened
Don't tell
to
me you try to be a vampire to suck it, to try, turn and try to.
like me, me and my brother found this anime called Blood Brothers.
Blood Brothers. Yeah,
Um, and it was a really cool anime. And
yeah,
so I was trying to find more anime like that. And then, and at the time, like we didn't have, I know me, you, and Daniel talk about this all the time. Like we didn't have streaming services.
right,
Like, so it was so hard to find like, you know, different websites to watch anime on. So
right.
I was trying to find all the Vampire Hunter D episodes.
Yeah,
Like, and I ran into some movies and I ran into a few episodes. Like,
yeah.
it was, I really liked it. It's like,
Now
because,
they need that's what they need to make into a series is Vampire Hunter D.
like,
You know?
because he has the Van Helsing effect.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
like, he has
yeah,
that Blade Van Helsing type.
yeah.
Man, a Van Helsing anime would be awesome.
They already have one, didn't they?
I don't think so. They have the Castlevania.
Check. I think they've got something. No, it's not Van Helsing like, but it's something similar to it. Um, I think it's actually called Helsing, but it was with
Uh,
two L's.
yeah, it is a Helsing.
But yeah, that's not Van Helsing. Yeah, yeah, that's right. But
Now,
yeah,
for America, I would say they should make a Van Helsing TV series.
yeah, they should. I agree. And they had a Japan licensed Marvel products for a short period of time, and I think they had a Blade anime.
They did.
Yeah. I didn't watch it. Was it good?
I don't know. It's like I didn't I wasn't able to catch that
Yeah.
anime like little segment for that time
Hmm.
period. But I
Yeah.
can vaguely remember they had the Blade, they had Wolverine.
Yeah, Wolverine. They had Iron Man.
Yeah,
I think they had an Avengers and X-Men anime. Yeah. I tell you that when you think about Disney, Disney has bought some of the most major intellectual property that you could ever think of. They've got Star Wars and they've got Marvel.
yeah,
They've got the TV series, they've got the movies, they got the toys, they got the comic books, they've got theme parks. I mean, they've wrapped it all together. It's crazy what Disney has. And that's just on the like the entertainment side of it. You think about, they got ESPN, I mean, my gosh, Disney's got a lot.
yeah. I'll call it a monopoly, man. It's
It
like
is a monopoly on hospitality and entertainment, for sure.
which in some sense I don't like. Um,
No,
like I like the fact that they're handling their business the way that they are, but I I really believe that competition brings out the best in
yeah,
society.
I
And,
agree.
and it's like,
And creativity. It
yes,
brings out creativity.
creativity and innovation.
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
and I think that's where we lack a lot in society now because, you know, you don't have anybody competing on the opposing side. Like you
Well,
take the
yeah,
iPhone, for example, like, majority of people have iPhones, but you have so many different phones that are superior. Like I have an iPhone, but I can recognize like it's other phone companies that make innovative, you know, phones.
right, right. Well, where the so when I was in high school, I remember this VHS tape, which is basically selling the benefits of a Macintosh over a PC, the Apple's operating system over a PC operating system. And so what makes a PC great is that you can take all these different pieces and plug and play it in, and it works. Whereas with an Apple, it's all built into one system. So that's why it's such a unique architecture, software, all that, because I've heard the expression walled garden used with an Apple, which is true. It's a walled garden, but it's also very secure. So, which is why, what I love about an iPhone is that, you got your AirDrop, boom, you can just drop something, you know, your iMessages go pretty much anywhere, everywhere, you know. And so unfortunately with like an Android operating system, it because it's so piecemeal together, it's vulnerable to attack from a security standpoint. And that's the one thing that kind of really kind of separates Apple from PCs so far is that they've inherently been built that way to be a very insulary type system, which
Hmm.
again, that's why you need the competition of something that's not. And so, you know, it's you're gonna have your Coke and you're gonna have your Pepsi Cola. You're gonna need both always.
Oh yeah. So, but I'm always looking for that Dr. Pepper.
And then there's always somebody that goes right off the playing field. Yeah. Well, I mean, I was riding in a Tesla today, and I've ridden in the back seat with a Tesla, but I've never been ridden in the front seat on the passenger side. And I tell you, that Elon Musk, if he's not an alien, I don't know what he is because he is like I'm riding in this thing and I'm like, I'm seeing what it can actually do like firsthand. You hear people say what it can do, but when you see it firsthand, it's amazing. It's amazing that technology.
Yeah.
As it gets cheaper and cheaper, hopefully, you know, I, in the business cycle, there's I can't remember all the different verbiage of it. But one is the early adopter innovators phase of the business cycle before it hits like the mainstream. But that like his the technology for the Tesla charging stations. Okay, if all the Teslas eventually go away, but the technology for the charging station remains, then that's all you really need is that technology at the charging station. Now, granted, the batteries themselves are dangerous to the environment. So, but it moves the conversation of we need to move away from just doing one source of energy through fossil fuels to now using electric to hopefully, I heard there's hydrogen type technology, hydrogen cells that work even longer than the batteries. So hopefully that's where we're going is we're moving technology further. And if it has to be from somebody like Elon, then that's great. As long as it's moving the technology further, going back to what you were saying, having more options, not just contained underneath one monopoly.
That's true. So, but man, something about that gas engine car though.
Oh yeah. Oh
I love
yeah.
that crank. That,
Yeah. 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 Um, what was the anime I was telling you all about? There was this anime, Science of AI or something. I need to go back and finish it. This is again, this goes back to anime and how much I love anime. So in the anime, there's these humans, and then there's these clones or replicants or whatever they're called. And what caught my eye as I can see this happening in the future more than anything else is this guy who's driving along and the car is self-driving. And so he doesn't want it to be self-driving. He wants to drive the car. So he hits a button saying, "Hey, I'm going to drive the car." and the computer overrides and says, "Hey, just so you know, if you take over overriding the car, you're not going to have your insurance coverage. It drops. Do you accept?" And he hits yes. And that's like in the anime. Somebody's a futuristic enough to think about something like, yeah, people are going to want to still be able to drive their cars. So insurance companies are going to build this into their policy saying, do you accept not having your insurance coverage? And to me, that's so cool, but it's so true, and it's in an anime. So we are not going to be surprised because I'm telling you about it now. If something like that happens in the future, 10, 20 years down the line, where everything is self-driving and the only way you can drive your own car is if you basically void all your insurance during that time frame in which you decide to drive your on your own.
Like I would do it. I would probably be on the self-driving part of it.
Yeah. I mean, it was wild riding in this Tesla, and because he sat there and he like, so you want to see the self-driving piece of it? And I'm like, yeah. So like he hit the blinker on the left lane to go the left lane. The camera pops up and you can see the car passing him. It's like, okay, now watch this. So the car passes him, hands are free, and the car just his car, the one I'm in, just goes. I'm like, oh, that's freaky.
Like I just don't. I think for me, it's like it's just a lack of trust.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's
like
right.
speaking of Terminator and the anime coming out, it's
Yeah,
like I I have no trust. Like I just think of the Skynet, and I'm just
yeah.
I
No,
don't.
because like
Yeah,
you hit a button on in the car and it shows the map, but it's a satellite map of where you're driving. So because it's all connected into Starlink, so you know, if AI ever took over, I mean, AI's got your car. It's just going to take you wherever it wants to take you.
yeah.
That's
The,
good. I know. I'm gonna stick with just the plain old muscle cars.
oh yeah,
And that's what it's gonna end up being. Is there gonna be a fight, 20, 30 years from now, from the group of people that are traditional, like we're gonna take care of it ourselves, do it ourselves, hunt it, kill it, whatever. And these people are so reliant on technology that they don't know any other way to live. Uh, you know,
I,
Hunger Games or any of those other movies that they made, you know, that's what it makes me think of.
like I think it. What's interesting? It's like I think a lot of people are realizing that it's a lot of traditional things that we don't do and that we should begin to start doing again. It's like you see a lot of people getting more into gardening as years, as I get older and as I see people around me starting to be like, you know what, maybe everybody should have a garden in their backyard.
Well, yeah. Yeah,
Like,
no, I completely agree. I
it's like,
completely agree.
but the way the technology is going, it's like the only thing, the comic book that I think of is Tokyo Ghost. It was a very indie comic book. It was 12
It's
issues.
made by Image, right?
I I want to say it was either Image or IDW.
IDW, yeah. I think it was Image.
Yeah, I want to say if I'm correct, it was probably it's more likely Image,
Yeah.
but
It makes me Tokyo Ghost without I think I read like a couple issues of it, but it really made me think of Ghost in the Shell, just even though it was nothing like Ghost in the Shell, it made me think of Ghost in the Shell just because of the way it looked to me. But yeah. What happened in Tokyo Ghost?
so um, it was everything was connected. Like
Mhm.
so, everybody was plugged into the system, and it was just one of those, nobody's really aware of the reality of anything. It was
Hmm.
the Tokyo Ghost. So nobody really was aware of like was the reality of everything. But you had this one girl, she was like disconnected and she was fighting off this one dude that wanted to like take over everybody and link
Hmm.
minds together. It's pretty much like the Matrix.
I was about to say, it sounds almost exactly like The Matrix, except the main character is a female instead of male.
But what was interesting, like the first issue has her friend that she grew up with, like he got addicted to, the net. And these kids were throwing stuff and they were filming and was like doing it for clicks and stuff like that.
Hmm.
Very, you know, representative representative of our world today. It's like you have some
Yeah,
friends and people do stuff for clicks
yeah,
and
clicks.
it's like or likes or followers and
Right.
and I looked at that book. I was just like, man, this is a true representation of our society.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
right? And the more we get into technology, it's like the more it just becomes truer and truer.
yeah. Do you think that people that do things for likes and clicks, you think that's related to attention seeking or monetization seeking, or maybe both?
I think it could be a combination of both.
Yeah,
It's like some people, you know, just want the attention, but I feel like some people get into it in the sense of they see other people profiting from it and they
yeah,
want to the pot for themselves.
right, right.
Like, I don't think anybody that's like you know, that has a following that's a million plus. In some sense, it has to be attention seeking, unless you're just trying to
Yeah,
a clear message out to people about something.
right.
Like, and you can uh, have the sermon on that based off of this, like how people carry themselves. You know,
Hmm.
so
Hmm.
the only people I would say it, who has like a lot of followers and stuff like that, it's not really attention seeking. It's like, well, which some of them can be, would be more so professional athletes,
Hmm.
because like if you're on national TV and you're great at what you do, you really don't have to seek attention. The attention is already spotlighted on you.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Or once you get to that level, you're pretty much, I'm not saying you're used to it, but it's a part of your life because most professional athletes, even those that make the jump from high school to the pros, they've had an eye on them since they were
Yeah,
in their teens, you know. Um, Now whether or not they were actually had like every single eyeball on them, but they were, they've had to make that kind of leap and understanding that there's going to be attention placed on me, and I think too much attention on anybody, it's not a good thing, and no
yeah.
matter how humble a person actually is, I mean, we're all human, so we're going to be susceptible
Oh yeah.
to our own egos, and
Yeah.
you know that's at the end of the day. What I think is interesting is how most people will present themselves in a particular way, but inherently, because I'm human, I also know like what I see how you present yourself isn't the real you, no matter how many layers of good you present. I know there's something inside that
Then
there's. there's something that makes you human. And when I see human, I see both good and evil. So, you know,
Because I think it's that understanding is like everybody is capable of saying that everybody is this and like you know the Bible tells you like it's the flesh that everybody deals with, you know.
hmm
So
hmm
like I can't look at somebody and be like, oh, it could be Mother Teresa, but I know Mother Teresa is a sinner just like
yeah,
anyone else.
yeah, no, yeah, because like, we're both married men. You know, the one that knows us better than anyone else is our wives. Um, and that's just a generalization. You know, the one that knows us better than anyone is our spouse if we're fortunate enough to be married, because our spouse will know the things that, we don't tell other people. You know, my conversation with Derek, I was saying, you know, I have a very small group of what I call best friends, people that know me better than anybody. Even when I do these, I mean, they know more about me than most people will ever know, and that's I ever want to know. But the one that knows me more than them is my wife. Because, I think about it, she's my wife. You know,
Yeah,
she knows my pain, she knows my fears, she knows my mess ups. I mean, she's the one I want to spend the rest of my life with. And also, too, she's the mother of my children. So, yeah, she's gonna know me better than anybody, you know. So, I mean, having children isn't for everybody, unfortunately. I think it should be because, you only live this life once. I haven't seen anybody that I've known pass away come back. So that's where my argument stands. So, you would want I think it's a tragedy when people die without having a child or not being able to have a child
yeah,
because that's what we were born to do. We were born to multiply. And so, I'm very thankful for my kids. I'm very thankful for my family. And they know me better. My wife, like I said, my wife is going to know me better than anybody. And I think that's the way it should be. So no matter how many different ways people see me as this, that, or whatever, I know that I'm not. And I always kind of approach it that way.
yeah,
And I think that's kept me on a better place than I used to be.
yeah. Like staying humble is always the best option,
And
you
I
know.
think staying humble it's not a um, thinking less of yourself. It's thinking of yourself a little less, and being honest about who you are.
Yeah,
I don't have to, be self-deprecating and beat myself up, but I can be very honest about, my mistakes and own up to it. I mean, I don't have anything to hide. So,
like I
you
think
know,
one of those things is like, you know, you never know what situation you might find yourself in.
always. Yeah.
It's like, you know,
Yeah.
and I think my parents instilled that into us growing up, like, treat people like with respect, treat people with kindness, and because it
Yeah.
was it's instilled in our mind, it's like you never know who you might be asking for help.
Yeah.
So,
And the other side of it is too, you never know when you're going to need it. And you do build up a lot of uh, political capital, political equity, um, however you want to call it. You build up a lot of goodwill over time. And, people that know your character, they're going to be willing to help you.
yeah,
Um, and people will remember how you make them feel. They may not remember every single word you said to them, but they'll remember how it felt. And uh, I try to make sure that I don't hurt anybody. you know.
Yeah.
I try to, I can't say I've 100% done that right way every single time, but I try. But that's why I try to have a balance, have things that I love that kind of, that's why I'm not all just one thing because I'm not all just one thing. I mean, that's why with our conversations, it's well, what's it going to be about? It's going to be about whatever. It
Oh,
don't matter. It's going to be fun. And this is for me, this is my outlet for that, and anybody can do anything as an outlet. And I think that this is a healthy outlet for me.
that's
So
good.
yeah, that's why I enjoy our conversation, man.
Like a good conversations. Like
Yeah. Well, man, I don't know about you, but I'm sleepy.
man, I'm pretty sleepy too. It's like it's like I'm I think this has been a good conversation. I'm
Yeah, man. Well, we'll do it again, but you got to catch up. You got to find some shows to suggest to me, man. I got.
uh, I'm almost done watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and after that,
You're gonna get back on the horse, huh?
I'm gonna get back on the horse because I'm missing it. I,
There's so many good shows right now.
it's like it's a movie. I can pull it up real quick.
Yeah,
That I added to my list to watch. It's called Black Fox.
Black Fox.
Yeah, it's on Crunchyroll. It's like
Oh yeah, I've watched it. I've watched that one.
it looks
Yeah,
pretty.
it's a ninja. It's a ninja one, right?
Yeah,
It's set in the future-ish.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that was pretty good. That was a good one. Yeah, I think you'll like Black Fox. And then there was this ninja series that we were watching too that was a little disappointing. I thought it would be better. Wait, yeah, no. It's Black Fox is similar to that one. I just can't remember the name of it. I think you watched it too because it was like 12 episodes deep.
Oh man, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yes.
I
Yes.
I erased that from my mind.
I can't even remember the name of that show. But yeah,
I'm looking
no.
for it. Um,
I think
but
it had Fox in its name too, didn't it?
uh, forget the name of it, but I remember the concept. It was about a kid
Kid,
that found out he was a part of
he
this samurai
a
family.
ninja tribe, yeah.
Yeah,
And they kind of ended kind of anticlimactically. It just kind of ended. Yeah. Gosh, what season was that? It was back in maybe 2 years ago, maybe now.
I don't
Now,
know.
now, now I can't. I can't. I've got to find out what the name of that stupid show was. I'm not, and I can't stop until I find it.
I'm
Okay,
looking
it
for.
wasn't. Oh, I gotta go watch this Under Ninja. I started watching that, but I didn't finish it. Yeah, I gotta go back and finish that. Okay, that's back in 2023. What's the name of that stupid show?
It wasn't.
Um, it must have been in 2022 then.
Oh,
Gosh, I
the
think
favorite
so. I think
Shinobi Ito.
is that it?
Yeah.
20. Okay. When was that? Was it in 2023 or 2022?
Uh,
It's got to
oh,
be 2022.
it's probably 2022.
Had to be. I can't believe it's been that long already.
Man, time has flown, man.
It really doesn't seem like it's been 2 years since that show came out. The Blue Lock was back in 2023. That's insane. I can't believe that. Huh. Yeah. That shows how many shows there are on anime. It gets me sucked in. I don't even realize the years that go by.
Yeah, it's like so many. It's like so many shows now.
Yep. Shinobi no Itoki. Yep, that is it.
It's like
Man. Well, I gotta go back and watch that Ninja Under thing. That looked like it was a pretty good show. Well, thank you.
see, I recommend it.
Oh, well, oh wait, there was that other ninja show too. That was exclusively on Toonami. Or was it Toonami? No, what was the name of that?
Oh
Ninja
man,
Kamui?
yes.
Yes, I didn't finish that show.
I only have 2 episodes left for that one.
Yeah.
Like
Was that
that's
show pretty good?
amazing.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Like now, it's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I, it's I continue to watch it only because the beginning was so amazing.
Right.
Like, but the story itself is still good. I'm just not a fan of robots.
Is that what it is?
Like, it's not what it is. It's like they introduced them, and, like, you know, I would say
Well, is
more
this
like
guy a robot though?
he's not a robot.
Okay, all right, all right, all right. Well, then that still has my attention then.
I would I would I would pretty much put it in a life's like if Gundams had like a life-size bodysuit,
Okay, okay, I get you.
like
Okay,
which I like Gundams because that's what I know that it is.
right.
But this one was like it's a mixture of both.
I think they should have just kept it like regular Ninja.
Yes,
They
because,
should have just kept it like that. Yeah,
because the first I want to say majority of the show is regular ninja stuff.
and then says turn into sci-fi.
Yes, well,
Okay,
pretty much sci-fi at the beginning. I
right.
would say it's very ninja assassin type,
Okay. Yeah, 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 yeah.
but
And that was a movie, Ninja Assassin. That movie was,
man, that's one of me and my brother's favorite movies.
yeah.
So
So
we
I
went to
grew up watching like ninja type movies. So if you want to watch an old cheesy ninja type movie, watch American Ninja. Have you ever seen American Ninja?
yeah,
Yep, American Ninja.
like it's two straight to DVD movies. Um, both of them have Scott Atkins in it,
Yeah,
Ninja and Ninja 2.
yeah, 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 yeah.
It's like
Uh, oh man. Well, now I'm gonna go watch some ninja anime.
sounds good, man.
Oh man. Well, we'll do it again sometime, my friend.
Yes, sir. You have a good night, man.
You too, bud. See ya.